Salon Spa Chat, personal branding with Jackie Bernardi.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is Jackie Bernardi, and I am here with two of my favorite guys and soon to be more. And we are Salon Spa Chat here on Blab. And tonight's exciting topic is creating a personal brand when you actually work for someone else. So we're going to be talking a lot about that tonight. But before we get started, I'm going to have Gerald jump in the seat. Some of you may know Gerald. If not, you should know Gerald because he's just one of Blab's little superstars. But he's got a very special event going on this coming Wednesday, December 9th. And it's an all-day event, and I just wanted to let you guys know about it. I'm Jackie Bernardi from JackieBernardi.com, and I specialize in working with students and professionals in the cosmetology industry, as do the gentlemen that are here with me tonight. And we are going to be talking about personal branding tonight. So let's start with Jon-David. Jon-David, go ahead and introduce yourself to your adoring fans.
My name is Jon-David, aka Mafia Hairdresser. The brand branded me, and that was a book I wrote, and I became an author and learned social media while I was working and still work in the salon spa industry. And now I coach kind of all industries, but specialize in the salon spa and barber industry. That's what I do.
Fantastic. And while Jeff is introducing himself, I'm going to bring Gerald in.
Hey, Gerald. My name is Jeff Demery, and I host the Salon Business Podcast. You can find me there at salonbusinesspodcast.com. I was a long-time salon owner, and my wife and I sold our salon last year. And now I help, much like Jon-David, a lot of people in other industries, basically local small business, brick-and-mortar local small businesses with their marketing needs is coaching, different things like that, Facebook ads, Google AdWords, their website, SEO, stuff like that. All right, there you go.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so Gerald, tell us about you and what you have going on, the special event on Wednesday.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, first of all. It's always great to see the Jackie Bernardi in the house. Love Jackie. Great to see you again, JD. And the first time I met you, Jeff, very nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you as well.
Well, what we're doing on Wednesday, we're doing what we're calling a Blab-a-thon, kind of a telethon style blab, where we're going to have different hosts come on for a young man that it's an 11-year-old child named Noah Roach. He was just diagnosed with bone cancer, and his family is dealing with that, and he already had sickle cell, so they're trying to work to get his medical expenses and stuff taken care of. So one way I felt that we could help out would be to do a Blab-a-thon, bring people on that people know, and kind of do it for 24 hours and see if we can raise some money and help them have a little bit of a better Christmas, knowing that what's going on with that young man, that they may get a little help from people they care about.
So
This is the first Blab-a-thon I've ever heard of, and what a great cause and what a great time of year. I am totally in. I'm going to look at my schedule for that and just as many times as I can jump in or just point to it. This is awesome, Gerald. That's very cool. That is very nice.
I appreciate it.
Thank
you so much.
Do you have the link that you can drop into the chat here so people on replay have an opportunity to grab
yes,
that?
Let me grab that now. I literally just got in from Missouri, so I was still getting situated. So give me 1 second and I can drop that link for you.
Sure,
I appreciate you doing
Gerald.
this, Jackie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
I can't wait.
I'll go to your
Great.
Twitter account and start doing some campaigning, right after this show.
Oh,
And
wow.
Jon-David is a master campaigner, believe me. It will be everywhere.
Yeah, it will be, and that's good. That's how it works.
I appreciate it. And here is the link, and I'm probably going to change the banner so that it shows him instead of the bobblehead picture that they give you of your profile picture. So
Wow,
hey.
that is cool. I have to write about the Blab-a-thon. I'm making that video, Twitter for every industry. It's just a tutorial, and it's happening so fast. Twitter's changing so fast that
Yes,
it's
Twitter
a great
is.
example. Like as soon as I finish this video tutorial, it will be outdated. Like that's how fast it goes. And this
That
is
is-
just a great example. I can turn around and add this to the video to it. And I can't wait to see how this is going to turn out. It'll turn out fabulous because I'm going to make it. But
Awesome. Hey, I love it. I love it.
It's Modest
I
Monday.
appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And I'm going to stay for a little while, but then I have my Great O'Clock show tonight with that I have to jump to. But I just jumped in. I saw the Jackie Bernardi and I saw JD, so I said I got to jump in and say hey.
Yeah.
And I see I see my other friend over there in the corner. She's not on the screen yet. Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna pop
so,
off. Gerald, you stay on. I'm gonna pop off, and Jennifer's popping in. Okay.
Okay.
I'll get back in.
All right, so Jennifer, come on in. Fantastic. Jennifer's on her way in.
Hello.
Hello.
How is everyone?
Awesome. And you?
I'm doing well. Have the dog tearing up my house right now. So.
So is that really doing well? It is? That's well. That's okay.
Sorry.
Well, oddly, my next door neighbor, who is quiet as a church mouse always. In fact, we never hear two peeps from this house. Like 5 minutes before we went live, I don't know if they just installed a new stereo system out in their backyard or something, but they're jamming Frank Sinatra, which is a great thing, right? Except they're going live.
Timing.
Like today?
Oh my goodness.
Interesting. So Jennifer, we've already gone around and done the introductions, so we'd love for you to introduce yourself to our burgeoning crowd here on Salon Spa Chat. Oh, Gerald. Oh, no, Gerald's there. Jennifer, where'd you go?
We lost her something.
We lost Jennifer. Oh, there she goes. I think she had to refresh.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I am
No
so
worries.
sorry. I am Jennifer Ellis Jackson from Simple Mantra Marketing, and I work with beauty professionals, hairstylists, makeup artists, barbers, and salons to help them with branding, lead generation, and ultimately making more money. So I help them communicate their message to their specific target markets.
Awesome.
So that's about me.
Fantastic. And that fits rather nicely with tonight's topic about personal branding. And, we're obviously very focused in the beauty industry, but this is actually relevant for any industry that you work in. If you do happen to work for somebody else, and whether you're employed by someone else or you're self-employed, you are actually working for somebody else. So personal branding has actually taken on a whole new thing. And so I thought it would be really interesting just to have an open discussion about that tonight.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
So one of my thoughts around it is that personal branding didn't get very much play before the last 10 years, really. And I was really, over the weekend, I was really thinking about why it is now that we use the term so often, and what does it really mean, and why is it such an important piece of doing business now, especially when you work with your hands. And one of the things that came up for me was the influence of social media on the personal brand. So hairstylists traditionally, when they come out of school, they go and they work in a salon or spa, and they're working for someone else. They're promoting that person's brand if that salon owner is in fact looking at it that way. But really, their work output, as we've discussed many times before, that what comes from their hands is truly personal, and it's a personalized product every single time, no matter how they've been trained. So it seems to me that personal branding for that person becomes very, very important. Thoughts, ideas?
Well, before I jump out, I will say this, that you are always your brand, no matter whether you're working for someone else or working in your own business. You are your brand at all times. At all times, you're representing something to someone, and how you convey that and how they perceive you is how they are going to place a value on the relationship they have with you. So it's very important that people understand the message that they're sending when they're talking, when they are communicating with people, even with the way they're dressing when they come into certain situations. All of that reflects upon how people will remember and perceive the value that you can bring to their life. So very important.
Nice one, Gerald. Nice one.
I mean, absolutely. I think that's right on, Gerald. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the perception that everyone has of you. It's not necessarily what you think of yourself on a branding level, but it's what people think of you. So there's got to be an awareness there of what your brand is, and kind of define it and try to understand the way people see you. I mean, a self-awareness on that is very, very important. I mean, the more self-aware you are about your brand, I think it's easier to build it. If you're kind of lost in how people perceive you, it can be troublesome, I think.
Absolutely.
And going in, I think you need to understand what it is that you want to convey, or what type of brand you want to have, or what the messages are, and then be able to overlay that with what your output is. So as Jackie mentioned, we're working with our hand each time. This hairstyle, beauty professionals are working with their hands each time the product is different. However, if you want to be known for customer service, if you want to be known for having a great connection with your customers, if you want to be known for exceptional follow-up, you have to be able to deliver that product, but at those intricate details at the same time consistently, and that helps you to be able to convey and communicate your brand and build your brand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what's interesting here is, Jeff, when you hire for the salon, when you're bringing someone in, are you encouraging them to brand themselves as part of your organization and also as individuals, or how does that work within your sphere of influence?
I think like when we would hire someone, typically, I mean, we didn't do a cookie cutter kind of thing. We like people to express their individuality, because I think in the hair business, I think that's very important. So, and it's kind of a collective thing within the salon. If everyone, and in the hairdresser world, I mean, everyone is a little bit different. So you have to kind of embrace that, I guess is the word, and let them know that it's fine to show what they're able to do and build their brand in that way, but then also not be contradictory of what the brand is for the salon itself. And maybe an example of that is just professionalism. I mean, I think there's some consistencies across the top of what a brand is in a salon, and professionalism is so important. And we always defined what we thought professionalism was, because you can ask 10 different people what it is and you'll get 10 different answers. So that kind of thing, and the way you treat customers and your positive attitude and things like that. And then you break it down to where the hairdresser gets, what their specialties are. Like I think within our salon, the branding was consistent among the stylists as far as positive attitude, professionalism, outlook, things like that. But then they could break their brand off a little bit with what they specialized in, what their interests were, how they were, a little bit different than the other hairdressers and things like that. So
That's great. And what about you, JD?
I'm always a big proponent of trying to build each individual in each business, whether it be a not-for-profit or a salon spa environment, to build each brand. I'm a big advocate of each one of them having their own website, which directs back. I don't care if you are in waste management. I don't care if you are work in a hair salon. I really believe, have your own website, have your own identity, so you have digital proof, as we say, that you exist and that you are a great example of your industry. So should your business change or grow, or you become a consultant in the future, you are priming yourself to be that, but you're also adding weight, social weight to your business where you're working, which is great. Your boss will see that you're positively writing or blogging about your business. So you're building your own brand, and what you think or how you do what you do maybe better, or your opinions, your positive opinions about what you do is within your brand. And I really love that thinking that we can all do this and support wherever we work. Because if you're working for somebody or something or an entity that you're just phoning it in, you probably wouldn't even understand branding anyway. I think we can all just as owners, business owners, really nurture our individual people within our businesses as individuals brands, and then collectively this is what we're here for, is our mission statement and what we do.
I think that collective makes the macro brand or the bigger brand more stronger, because you have individual personalities. So I'm coming to Jon-David just for great hair color or whatever it is that they're coming for. But because I know he has a following, he can mentor the other people in the salon. He can help the overall business. And so people are going to be attracted to his message, knowing that there's going to be some overlay for the other people in the organization. So I think it's a big mistake if companies, as Jon-David mentioned, whether you're in waste management, hair care, corporate America, for you not to have a personal brand to overlay on top of that bigger brand. It just makes the message more resonant, and it just makes everyone more effective, because we all still have our individual horns to tote, so to speak.
Isn't Zappos one of the best beginning social media companies that embrace social media, that really let their employees know that they are individual brands and go ahead and tweet us and talk about our business and so forth? I think they were really, forefront.
Yeah. Cheval's going to come in. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very forward-thinking company. And I think Cheval is on his way in.
Yeah, he's coming in. You see.
Okay.
He's got the internet problem.
Yeah, that's a tough location. Some nights it's right on and other nights not so much, huh? There we go. Come on back in, Cheval.
Hey, y'all. How you doing?
There it is.
Great. How are you, Cheval?
Doing great. Doing great.
Man on the street.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for allowing me to join this chat for a bit.
Well, absolutely. You had a very interesting comment in the side here. I'm trying to scroll back to it here. Cheval said, I honestly believe that personal branding growth to be important in the last 10 years because of the layoffs that are happening in the companies. Do you want to expand on that a little, Cheval?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. The recession, the Great Recession to 2008 really amplified what was really going on in the companies with, layoffs, the companies merging and then laying off a lot of people. That woke up everybody to the fact that, everyone's their personal brand, and they got to now, provide value now in order to, to survive it while really thrive in this marketplace right now. So if they think that they can, continue to be under, protected by the company, working for a company and get that 401k, they're mistaken. They have to go out and try to build their personal brand, really providing value, and in order to succeed. And if they're not doing that, then they're going to get lost in the shuffle once the layoffs happen.
Yeah, you need that digital resume out there consistently, and it's fairly enjoyable to be when you think of yourself as a personal brand. Don't you think so, Cheval? I mean,
yeah.
It really makes me have to think about my business and my work, why I like it or why I'm better. I get to write about it or talk about it online, and it really makes me appreciate what I do.
Yeah, that is true. And of course, like what you guys are doing is very great. I mean, because is there many hairstylists doing blabs on social media right now?
No.
Not that many.
Exactly. So that's the point there. Like, you guys are really, like, taking a risk to be authentic and to provide value to people who needs it, and that's what's gonna bring you guys more business because of that. And exactly like, I don't know if you guys know about Robert Scoble. That's how he built his personal brand. He basically was in the early stages of blogging, and it was because of his personal brand and his blog posts is why he was able to get work everywhere, despite even after he quit it, because he had a strong personal brand and people looked to him as an authority. And of course now with him working at oh God, I forgot the name of the company, but now he can travel to whichever conference in the world to find out what's going on in the tech industry without telling his bosses, because his bosses know that he is an authority in the tech world. So that's a huge, that's the most important part about that, is like you guys have, everyone have to have the strong personal brand and also continuously providing value if they're going to thrive in this digital age right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think in our industry, I think we have the owners that I think in general, I think, Jackie, you might disagree, but that the owners have a distrust in building brands, individual brands within their salon. That's a thing, and many industries are that way. Restaurants would be another one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're afraid, and yet that's the real thing that gets those customers in the door. Those individual brands, those human beings that have personalities. Yeah.
That's a really interesting point, Jon-David, and I am so hopeful that is actually changing in our industry. And I think just like all industries, when people started online, when they were marketing online, right, and they started giving away all their stuff for free. Right? They were giving stuff away, stuff away, and everybody's like, are you crazy? People are just you're never going to get business out of it. You can't give your best stuff away for free. But actually, of course, what's happened, right? It's what's made these brands like the Amy Porterfields of the world, the Pat Flynn's of the world. What makes them so exceptional is their willingness to give, and then yet they still have even more because we all do. Mm-hmm. So going back to the jealousy issue, or maybe not jealousy, that's not the right way to put it, I don't think.
I think it's a fear issue.
Maybe fear, but what I think you're right. I think that when salon and spa owners encourage their employees to be their own brand, to be their own person within the context of this network that they work in, I think it actually lifts up the business to a bigger degree than the business owners could possibly do. And it's just like anything else. Like there was a great article I read over the weekend about getting hired by Google, and the big problem with Google, and they're changing this now, but the big problem with hiring at Google is that they hire the A++, the 4.0, but 4.50 students, right, from all these universities in engineering, in mathematics, right? They're not hiring the English majors. They're not hiring the French majors. They're not. And so what happens is when you look at Google's interfaces on most of their products, it's very linear. It's very, right? Whereas we've become accustomed to really great user interface from other companies, right? And we like Uber, right? So getting an Uber is a beautiful experience, all these things. So the problem with Google is they've pigeonholed themselves in terms of creativity. And so my point here is that when you encourage your employees, whether they're hairstylists, whether they're nuclear engineers, to be their own brand within your corporation, you actually have the opportunity to have a much broader way of connecting with your ultimate clients. And that's why I'm hopeful in our industry that will change, that more owners and managers will see that.
I think it has to change. I think it has to change because, we're just seeing such a huge trend in mobile service providers, salon suites, individual stylists where they're not getting what they need in the salon by giving their commission, giving half their salary to the owner, and they're not getting market experience, and they're not learning branding, because you have to be a personal brand and learn that. What is that in the hair salon?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump up for a quick second up, but I'll be back. So
I'll be back. Thanks, Cheval.
Thanks, y'all.
So I think I should tell my story now about the when I worked for a salon, and he was the guy that, I built a brand, the Mafia Hairdresser brand, and was bringing a lot of customers, and I mentioned it before. And this was a typical owner who was very afraid of the individual getting bigger than his brand. But I think in the salon spa industry, we have a really good opportunity to allow each stylist. We don't want to have that 80s stylist that is just this grand dame and, you know, a tyrant. You have to make policies. I think you have to really make it clear to your employees, this is a great place to work, this is what we allow you to do, this is what we don't allow, this is what we want, what you don't. I think part of branding, if you're an owner and you want to really brand your own salon and the individuals within it, you have to really make things very, very clear. You have to be a good manager. I think that's part of it, part of branding.
I think that, I mean, and part of that is you know, from my point of view, our salon, we would hire people out of beauty school generally. So that means they don't have a clientele and they have to build a clientele, right? So we always tried to build this awareness though, you know, what do you bring to the table? Here's what we bring to the table. Let's have a conversation about what are you bringing to the table? Because, you know, sometimes when a newer hairdresser comes in and just kind of doesn't look at it as a business enterprise, which, you know, and I think after you get experience, you realize that it is an enterprise and you do bring things to the table. So you can't, you know, I've been in the middle of interviews where, you know, a stylist has told me, a new stylist, you know, they're coming to our salon because they know we're a busy salon and they can build a clientele and they'll probably eventually move on and go to a salon switch, you know, and that's like, oh my God, really? Did you just say that? Because I mean, as a salon owner, you have an understanding that people are going to leave, and so you, as a business manager, you have to plan that. So you know, part of the brand and part of the things you do, you perpetuate success. So then they're more likely to stay. So the owner does have a responsibility. So does the stylist, and you have to be very clear on what's expected. I mean, you know, non-compete agreements and different things like that are restrictive in some ways. We tried that for a little bit, then I just kind of like, that's not really who I am or what I'm about, I should say, my wife and I. So, but you're right, Jon-David. I mean, you really have to be clear on what are you bringing to the table. And if you're just coming in with a selfish attitude and the owner has a selfish attitude, I mean, it's not going to work. You both have to have kind of an open-minded attitude, because everybody naturally protects what's theirs, but you have to realize that you can build something even bigger if you kind of step back and have kind of a level of trust that people are doing the right things. And if you don't see them building a positive brand in your salon, you know, you need to communicate that to them and let them know. You know?
Oh, that's a great point, Jeff. Great point.
I think we have to teach the salon owners as well as the professionals that there has to be something, you've all said, something mutually beneficial, both for the salon and for the individual brand. We can't approach this from a scarcity standpoint, particularly when we look at things like YouTube and all these do-it-yourself tools where people think they have the same skills as a makeup artist, as a salon owner, as a stylist, as a barber. Then it's even more important for us to be able to articulate what we can do, how we can do it. We have proof, we have social proof, we have credibility. All the more reason that we're going to bring these folks in when we're constantly competing with other entities, because we have the training, we get the continuous education. I don't understand how salons in this day and age, especially owners, can't see the value of the personal brand and how it benefits the overall industry. Makes us more credible when we can stand on things that we draw a line in the sand and say, I built this brand, I built this reputation. These are some of the things that I am proud of and I want to promote, because this is part of who I am, and this is how I'm growing my business or how I'm cultivating my community. So I just think it's such a huge miss, and we really need to continue to try to communicate this message so we don't have to keep playing catch up in the beauty industry, I think.
Well, it's interesting. I think that there's an opportunity that, yes, there needs to be education around it, that it's not something really to be feared, but managed. But there's also, there will become a void, right? So for those people, individuals now, right, who do not choose to brand themselves personally, especially within our industry, right, they will cease to exist in the world of social proof, right? So when we go on Yelp, we're looking at a salon, we want to see if there's anything written about that particular stylist that we're going to go see. If there's nothing, I mean, not a thing written, that's now an indicator, just as having a negative review. Like we can't afford to have voids. So
you're not a professional, period.
Exactly.
If you don't have that.
Exactly. And so for other industries, I mean, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you don't exist. So we've really come to a point now where everything is so accessible at all times that if we're not accessing it, we're not actually using it, not just to our advantage, but really to explain our position in the world, how we do things, so on, then we are actually losing opportunity every single day that we don't exist there. And what I was saying, the void is that the void will become, the salon owners will start seeking candidates, job candidates that have all this social thing. When they're not encouraging it in the brand, the dichotomy will become obvious and we'll have to address it. So that's why I work so hard with the students and the people very, very early in their career to help them build a brand, because that's the one thing that they'll be able to take with them everywhere they go. Right? Who they are. And it's actually what Gerald said, which was great. You're always your brand. So.
And you catch them, Jackie, right out of school. And I love that Jeff hired right out of school too. When I had a hair salon, I didn't hire people with clienteles, but I got them fresh, so that they were ours, they were us, they were me, I was them, kind of thing. So it is great to get them right out of school. I think we do have a road ahead of us teaching salon owners about branding, not only online and with digital and social proof, but with with their own individual stylists and what that means and what it can look for them and how they would be missing an opportunity. It's education, and I don't see it in the brands. I don't see the brands teaching it because I don't think they're communicating that as well.
Which is interesting because that would be such a natural fit, right? They have these national educators that could go out and really show the individual stylists, the individual estheticians or makeup artists, how their brand fits in with that individual's personal brand and help them.
Well, I think sending them a few of these Salon Spa Chat episodes will send them a message like, you can pick 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your speakers. There's your trainers to train your people. So there you go. Here's the experts. We're all speakers. We're all experts. So yeah, so hopefully Salon Spa Chat gets their attention as well, because this is so helpful. This information is so helpful to business owners. It's so helpful to the brands, because if we can get the salon owners, we can get the individual stylists doing social proof, doing their own branding, they would automatically know what the big brands are doing and take that information and disperse it within their own brands, which is so much more beneficial to the hair care companies, the product companies, the tool companies. It's a win-win situation if we can open up that dialogue between the brands and the salons, spas, and the individual service providers.
So what do you guys mean exactly by that, though? Where you don't feel like there's like major brands that are kind of trickling down to the salon and picking up the brand, or what do you exactly mean by?
I think brands are a key that's missing in the conversation of what we're doing here at Salon Spa Chat. I think we're really doing some real big dialogue that is happening, just having other people join in the conversation as well that isn't necessarily in our industry opens up a whole nother line of communication that's available to salons and spas, available to individual, so forth, but you don't have the brands individually. And maybe I think next year after we get going, it is time to start inviting those brands into, Salon Spa Chat. Say, hey, L'Oreal, give us a representative, or give us a Beth Minardi, because I know I can get those people on Salon Spa Chat. And to get those people representing here, because guess who's listening? It's the spas, the salons, the barbers. They listen to the brands when they talk. It's just those brands aren't speaking on branding. They're not teaching personal branding. They're not teaching spa branding to those businesses, which is a void.
Right. But I think they do represent a brand. I mean, if you have a sensitivity to, there's certain manufacturers that have, you know, I mean, I've been to enough hair shows and dealt with enough different brands that there are some that their brand is better than others, just their culture. I guess it's more about a culture than a brand almost. But yeah, I would agree with that. They don't really have those discussions. And when you do take on their product lines, they never have a discussion about what their brand is about or what they represent. You're right. I mean, I agree with that.
So Jeff, as a salon owner, would you want them? Like, do you think that would be beneficial if they came in and explained their brand to your individual stylist and how your stylist could utilize that brand to build their own business?
Right. Well,
or would you think that was intrusive?
No, that happened with us. We picked a brand like the last 3 years. You know, we had the salon here that was very descriptive of what their brand was and what they represented. You know, and they actually commented that they were a lifestyle brand, and explained, you know, took us to trainings and took our staff to training, and we traveled to go to this training, and they gave us a handbook, explained their whole concept, how their brand works, how they're different, and it was very, very powerful, because typically within a salon, we had the same brand. Like 10, 12 years ago, I had this bright idea. I want to be the only salon in the whole state of Indiana that is brand exclusive with this particular brand that we did. And at the time, people weren't doing that. And then now, you know, the Paul Mitchells of the world and different salons are doing that more, you know, or it's prevalent now. At that time, it wasn't. And then we were with that brand for a while, but for a long time, and they were very supportive on a financial level and inducing everything. But then we ran across this other brand where they were willing to explain to us what a brand was. And that's kind of when we became aware. And then my point was, I guess, on that is that the stylists tended to be much more loyal to the salon, much more loyal to what we were doing, because we defined what we were doing much more in that way with that particular brand. So it was good. Yeah. So, but like you said, that's not typical at all. And I haven't really noticed another brand that actually has education on branding other than that manufacturer. So.
I'm just choosing to find out who that is.
It's Evo Hair Care. So
Evo, sure.
Yeah, they're out of Australia. But if you ever see any of their brand is very consistent, like very, very kind of just off the wall, underground, kind of, you know, just really appeals to hairdressers. It really like bonded our team, and they all loved the products, and, you know, and cocktailing was their thing. You know, it wasn't just one product, but cocktailing several products, which is hairdressers. They want that creativity of the brand, and they didn't come out with new products all the time like a lot of the big brands do. And you got to, you know, have this particular product, and, you know, they sell it for a while, then they discontinue it. You know, I'm saying bigger brands. This other company, Evo, they were just very consistent. They bought into what they had, and then they would come out with different creative ways to use it and explain it to you. And it just really was a nice culture that they have, and we really respected it. So.
And it was a good branding cultural fit for your salon,
right?
Clearly.
Well, I mean, we're downtown urban. We were, you know, urban downtown salon that, you know, a lot of diversity and all those kinds of things, and that's what they portrayed, and you know, just a lot of kind of urban feel, and it just really worked well for us, and it helped us understand the power of, like you guys were just talking about, that it's possible to work with your manufacturer, your brand, to rise up and be a bigger part of a bigger thing, I guess. Basically.
In the 80s, we had Sebastian International, so it was right there at Cassandra 2000 in Woodland Hills. So they were vanguards of branding, you know, and so I learned branding quite early in the 80s. They were just, you know, create that synergy, as Jeff was talking about in the salon, talk about, you know, how they do cocktailing, and give the benefits and features information to the staff members. They have something to talk about. That staff member goes and talks about it to their customer. So you're branding your hair salon, you're branding your spa by sucking in that culture, making it yours, and then it's dispersing to your client. That's great branding.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to what you were saying, you know, like branding yourself individually can be part of a bigger you just kind of look at your environment and look what you're bringing to the table, what everybody's bringing to the table, and you bring more to the table, and just it grows exponentially that way. I think.
Mm-hmm. I think the manufacturers, as well as we, have to figure out, or we have to always keep the client or the customer in mind. If we're a manufacturer, how does it benefit the salon? How does it benefit the stylist, the makeup artist, whomever? And then how does that individually benefit the end user? If I'm L'Oreal or Aveda and I'm known for great ingredients in my products, then I need to be able to partner with someone who has that same methodology or that same practice. So it has to be a win. I mean, and we're not advocating branding just for the sake of branding. It has to be something communal or something mutually exclusive for the brand, as well as the individual salon, as well as the stylist or the beauty professional. So,
well, and I think this has kind of crossed my mind, but if you think about a lot of the brands within the industry, they are branded to appeal to hairdressers, but they're not necessarily branded to appeal to the customers of hairdressers. And I feel like that's where hairdressers need help. They need brands that appeal to their customers more so than they do them, because in that way you want powerful ways to get and keep customers, and you need a brand that helps you do that, as opposed to just trying to appeal to you to use their brand because they're so cool for hairdressers, but they need to be cool for the customer as well, I think.
Yeah, and then we have those brands that are, they know that they have, since they have a public line now, that's the trend with brands. A lot of the L'Oreals, the Wellas, and so forth, they now have a public brand that isn't necessarily in the salon as well. So they know that just putting that on the shelf in drugstores is going to get them. And they're also smartly, they are also retailing online, so they're bypassing the hairdresser. So we have this double-edged sword going on. But I believe that the hair salon, spa, individual stylist can harness what branding is going out to the public from, like the L'Oreal brands that are selling because I know they're selling the Schwarzkopf brands to the public in a small fashion, not exactly the professional products, but they're selling to the public. So the stylists can look at how they're branding and selling, because they're selling benefits and features of these products, and then they can use that within the salon. With the professional, and say, hey, well, that's what's on the shelf out there, but we have the really good one. You can turn it around, I believe.
Good point.
No comment?
No, well, that's
I think it's another whole thing, but at the same time, it is about branding. And here these companies they have to, because they're not making enough money through us in the salon, or they want to make more, whatever it is. I just deal with what's in front of me. They have a product at Walmart, and it's not what we have in the salon, but their marketing to that consumer out there is really, really smart. We can take that marketing and pull it back into the salon, even if they're not teaching it to us.
Did you all see Adam's question? So the brand names and the hairstylists need more communication to help both market to consumer. Absolutely. And it's not even unique to just the beauty industry. I think it's all industries, but specifically our product, as Jackie said, so eloquently stated earlier, is so individual, so unique. Every interaction, I can come in every 6 weeks and get my hair colored, use the same formulation, and it just may differ. Or I can go to Jackie and get a facial. It's just going to be different. So we absolutely need to, from a manufacturer as well as an individual brand standpoint, communicate what it is that we do, how we do it, when we do it, and what our consistency is, so that message can be relevant and resonate to the specific consumers that we're targeting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well said.
And we can't really assume what we think our clients want, right? Because if we're assuming that, then, and it doesn't match with our brand, we'll try to make our brand match with what they're looking for. Terrible idea. Like, worst idea in the world, really. So it's really important to take all that into consideration. I've got a question that I wanted to ask you guys each individually, right? So if somebody is starting off in this industry, with no personal brand yet. They're just starting off. Maybe they're not fresh out of school. Maybe they took some time off. Who knows what? But they don't have a brand within the industry. What would be your best suggestions for getting started creating a brand, or what steps would you take to even identify what you want your brand to look like? What do you guys think?
I would just write down on a piece of paper, list all the things that why you're in the industry, what you love about the industry, and what you do well in the industry. And then from there, your top 3, that's your main things that you'll blog about, what your a website page would look like, or however you want your digital information to be. Those are the things that you're going to really highlight for the next 2 to 3 months, and have a plan. Have a 3-month plan. What is it you want to do? What is it? What can you do in 30 days? What can you do in 60 days? What can you do in 90 days? And really set a plan. Where is it you want to be in 90 days? And start with that. So it's like the power of 3, 30 days, 60 days, 90. Your top 3 things that why you love the industry, how you love the industry, that denotes what your web pages will look like, what your LinkedIn is going to look like, what your Facebook is going to look like. Pass. That was what I thought.
Just piggybacking on what Jon-David said, I would identify what your core values are. Who do you want to serve? How do you want to serve them, and how are you going to communicate that? So you're going to communicate it via orally, but you're also going to do it in your work, how you show up, how you engage customers. If you know that you are a visual person, then maybe you're going to visually display your brand. If you like more intimate one-on-one connections, it may be a matter of just texting or emailing your clients. So figure out what your communication methodology is, tying it back to your core values and what it is that you seek to accomplish overall.
Is this a question for people that are still in beauty school or just got out of beauty school? Or
It doesn't matter. Just somebody people who have not actually put any effort into building a personal brand yet. Like, where do you start?
I think it's real important what they just said as far as defining what that is, but sometimes you don't know how to define that, like what your core values are in a salon, because I think when you're just go to beauty school, you're an outsider coming into our world, to the inside. You're like, you see the front stage, but you don't see the backstage. So when you go to beauty school, you see the backstage, and then you understand a little bit more. But I think like the one thing that somebody can do is, number one, you do some searching on a website, and you find 5, 10 salons that websites, first of all, appeal to you, and you think, wow, they could be really cool places. Then you make appointments with those salons, whether to get your hair done, go in there and work for free, go in there and shadow, go to at least 5 salons, find the most experienced hairdressers within those salons, ask them the questions that you don't know the answers to, ask them what their brand is, ask them how do they define themselves, so you can see realistically what you're up against and communicate. But I think in the hair business in our area, and I'm sure it's similar everywhere, you can go into 10 different salons and hear 10 different answers to the exact same question. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. So the way you can define yourself is understand who you're working with or who your competition is, and just go into salons and ask those questions and connect to people and see how other hairdressers or, massage therapists or estheticians or nail techs, how they operate, so you can help you understand how to define that. You want understand those connections to people, because ultimately that's what matters, is it's the connections, because eventually you're going to be a busy enough hairdresser that you don't need new clients. That's kind of the goal. You just keep raising your prices, and you might need some new clients when they leave because you've raised your prices. But that's the long-term goal that people I think some people lose sight of that a little bit. The way it used to be, that way. I don't know if there's as many as there used to be now, but that's the long-term goal, being a hairdresser, I think.
I think while you may not know specifically what it is you want to do, or you may not have core values, there's a reason why you decided to pursue the beauty industry, whether it's a makeup artist or a hairstylist or esthetician. So I'm saying whatever that fundamental reason is, 1 or 2 or however many, you can use that to build on. So I absolutely believe you should interview, shadow, talk to people, mentor, mastermind, but at the same time, there's some reason that brought you to the table. And I'm saying use that as a foundation to build your brand, whether if you want to be a colorist or a cutter or whatever.
Right. I mean, unfortunately, I think though sometimes the expectation of what it is and what you are. I mean, there's a disconnect there because, and Jackie, I mean, we've talked about this before kind of offline, and I don't know what the percentage is, but like after 2 years, 80% of the people aren't, or whatever it is.
It's higher.
So yeah, really. So
higher.
I shouldn't laugh, but
It's
so there is a disconnect there. So I think it's important to figure it out before you spend all this money too. Sometimes, you know, I mean, it's just a sad state of affairs. I think life is all about expectations, and I think if you got to somehow figure out ways to create good, positive expectations for your success somehow, you know, it's kind of.
I agree. I'm a huge proponent, though, honestly, of encouraging people just to get some teeth in the game. Just start branding, even if they're not doing it right or doing it authentically, or, you know, in the beginning as they're getting their feet wet. Just do something. Start making a name somehow, because it will always be there. You can always go back and correct it if it's not working for you or if it doesn't feel quite right. But, you know, each day that we don't take that step is another day that we miss the opportunity that may be the opportunity, or their placement, or the conversation that needs to have, or the community that needs to be developed. So I guess that would be that is actually my biggest thing, is just start with something, no matter like whatever it is. You know, JD is all about, you know, the social media and Twitter and all that. That would be an amazing place to start, even if your audience, your clientele, it's never on Twitter. Get started on Twitter anyway. I mean, if that's your thing, if you like Twitter. I'm not saying do it because that's the right thing, but what I'm saying is if you don't do anything, you will get nothing. So teeth in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's a lot of businesses do that. Startups, they wait till their product's ready or their company's ready to go before they start their branding or their media or what have you, or their website. A lot of people come to me for coaching, whether it's a dog walker or any business. It's like, no, don't wait till everything's all in place. Start the branding beforehand. I think it's super important.
Yeah, like build that audience beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, in the online marketing world, I mean, you build an audience for a year or two before you're able to really, you know, sell anything. So it's the same. Yeah, start building that audience. And absolutely.
And
yeah, the Mafia Hairdresser book was that. I mean, before I even sold the book, I was on Twitter for a year, talking about nothing but the green industry stuff, which is great. I have that audience too, so it's nice.
And what's so great is today it's so easy to course correct. So as Jackie said, you may not know what you're wanting to do, but you can put so many irons in the fire and see what hits. You can start to see, and the brands evolve. So your Mafia Hairdresser, you're doing Twitter, you're doing social media for salons today, but it may be for not-for-profit as well as beauty professionals. Tomorrow your brand can evolve. So we're not so stuck that we're the same thing today as we are 2 years from now, or even 6 months from now. Because as you mentioned, as you get your next product out, it might be outdated because things are happening so quickly. So that's the beauty, that we can turn on the dime, or we have that flexibility to be able to update and continue to build and grow out our brand. So,
I mean, is it a brand or a product though? I mean, is products part of a brand, or you know what I mean by that? Like, I mean, can you have your brand and then your brand's always consistent, but your products change?
Yes.
Or is it, okay.
That is what I believe.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah.
Products are just part of your overall portfolio, but your brand is still what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, what your overall message is.
Unless of course you build your brand on the product. So I know that there's a particular salon down in the village where I live, and they have completely built their brand on being a L'Oreal, Kerastase, like that's it. And they've built everything on that. And God help they never lose that product line, because I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they base everything that they do on, and all their advertising, actual advertising is based on that. Don't do it. But they've done it, and they're pretty successful. So
yeah, that's a whole nother topic too. The kind of the distributor and the manufacturer disagreement.
Oh yeah, I could really get into that one.
That's good. That's good backroom hairdresser fodder right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we're coming up at the end of our hour now.
Wow.
This has been, I know this went by so fast. It was crazy.
Always.
So crazy. So I want to give each one of you an opportunity to tell us what's going on. If you have anything coming up, if you want to share your website in the comments here so that everybody that's here or in replay can get a hold of you. So what's up with you, Jennifer? Tell me what's going on in your world.
Kicking off my first mastermind for beauty professionals in January, so at the beginning of the year, a mastermind starting out with 6 people, just looking holistically at their business and helping them to really position themselves for growth. So that's really exciting versus just having individual coaching clients, really taking them through the nuts and bolts for 6 months. So that's what I have coming up. So super excited about that.
And is that all filled up? Or are you still looking for people?
It's not. And you can go to simplemantramarketing.com for more information, and I'll put my link in the chat.
Wait, I always get this wrong. Am I pointing in the right?
Yes, you're pointing in the right direction.
But I think when you get it back, when you get it emailed, it's all flipped.
Oh, is it?
You notice that?
Oh,
yeah.
well
Because I remember I was pointing down here, and I'm like, I was getting really good at that. And I was like, I don't know.
yeah. So that's fantastic. Well, congratulations on that. I'm excited to hear how that
Yeah,
goes.
I will promote it big time.
Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. That'll be really cool. I think that's helpful. Very helpful.
And Jon-David, what's up with you? What does the Jon-David have going on?
Well, I just produced several books, Social Media 101, Social Media 101, the video tutorial, which it's really, I mean, it's 99 cents. This is the stuff I provide my clients with. I have goalachiever.club, which is my 30, 60, 90-day plan. The same plan I use with my clients. It's just branded with Mafia Hairdresser. It's also 99 cents. It's super cheap. It's just, I want people to have it. There you go. It'll help you with your goals. It's helpful to the world. I can give it to salons. I can give it to spas, and whether they use my services or not. So that's my gift to the world. I'm just wrapping up Twitter for Every Industry, the tutorial, and that'll come with the ebook, Twitter for Salons and Spas. But that's a lot of work, man. It's whipping my butt. I think for every 10 minutes of video that I'm editing, it takes about 4 hours for me because it's a lot of work.
It's pretty astonishing how much work editing is, isn't it?
I am 3 months behind on my goals. Like I made the goal setting thing, and I'm really good with goal setting. But when it comes to video and webinars and so forth, like, oh my God, I think it doesn't really fit with my creativity and the time this involved. It's so techy and so forth. But it's cheaper than having someone to do it else. But so that's what I'm doing. Happy to do anything else, like promoting Jennifer's thing coming up and Wednesday's event, the Blab-a-thon. That's going to be my distraction this week. So that's what I'm doing.
Fantastic.
On my end, I would just definitely encourage people to get involved in the mastermind with Jennifer. I think as salons, I think that's really cool because as a salon owner, you're always kind of on an island by yourself. You don't really get a lot of feel for what's going on in other salons or other places, So I think that's a really powerful thing, Jennifer. That should be really cool. On my end, I mean, I'm doing this crazy new podcast, the Brick and Mortar Online Marketing Podcast. I've told you guys about it before, but just getting involved with small local businesses, helping brick and mortar businesses, helping them understand how to market themselves and how really easy it is to kind of distinguish yourself in your particular area, in your particular town or city. But if you go to Jeff Demery, and it's on there, .com, that's where you can find the new podcast. I've got 2 episodes out, and I'm going to have weekly episodes here for 8 weeks, kind of the first season, and a lot of powerful tools that people can use and kind of learn more about me there. And then all the old stuff on Salon Business Podcast is still there, and there's a lot of great interviews with Jon-David on there that you just have to hear. So that's what I got.
Love that. That's awesome, Jeff. And as for me, I'm going to support all y'all. But I also have on the 28th of December, it's my last class of the year, but it's actually a 3-week class on resume design. It's spread out over 3 weeks, I should say. So it's a complete resume design course. In fact, that's what it's called, the complete resume design course. Very original. And I just noticed that my link is not functioning properly.
Oh,
so
good. Call Jon-David.
So, of course, right? So if anybody is interested in learning more about that, please, Jennifer, if anybody is interested in learning more about that, you can just email me at jackie@jackiebernardi.com, and I'm happy to send out information for sure. But yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay, everybody. Thank you. All right, everybody, I just learned that I completely neglected to bring up next week's topic, and the divine Miss Jennifer is going to be hosting the power of collaboration in the beauty industry. And this woman has got it going on, so please come and join us next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Toodles.